This is the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio.
All right. Welcome to Marriage Unhindered. I'm happy that you are with me, and I'm happy that I'm with you on this rather somber but yet joyful day as we think about, reminisce about, and pray for our Holy Father who has passed away, gone on to his eternal reward. And, you know, we're sad because our Father has died, our leader, the head of the entire Roman Catholic Church. And that's a sad thing, of course, humanly speaking. We'll miss him. But it's joyful because of our hope in heaven and that he's there. And you look at the life of somebody who has spent their entire life praying to God, trying to live to the best of their ability, a life that is pleasing to God, a life of apostolate, a life of spreading the gospel. Earlier today, I had a chance to talk with my daughter, Katie, my oldest child, who happens to be in Rome right now. I had a conversation with her, talk about what Rome's like right now, what's going on, and what her read is on the temperature over there. And let's listen in on my conversation with Katie. I have the distinct pleasure of having my very own personal Rome correspondent in Rome right now. Hey, welcome to the show, Kate.
Thank you. I'm actually sitting in the arms of St. Peter's Square right now talking to you.
Oh, my. All right. And how does St. Peter's Square look? Is it crowded?
It is. It is. It's fascinating. So I actually walked over here last night thinking it would be the last time I saw St. Peter's. And it was not that crowded. You had a few lingering tourists, but today it is alive. There are people from all over the world who are here. There are so many cameras, so many media people, and just here to come and pay their respects. It's really a very interesting experience.
You were actually in the same spot 20 years ago when John Paul II died, yes?
Yeah, so just before. So I actually went to both Holy Week right before John Paul II died, and then I was here for all of Holy Week right before Francis died. So John Paul II actually died after I was on my plane already heading home.
Okay.
But yeah, both, I was there for the last Easters of both popes. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty, and now, in all fairness, you have been to Rome when popes didn't die, is that right?
Yes, this is my fifth time. I've only gone twice when popes have died.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So the tenor of folks there in the plaza, what's it like? Is there a sadness? Is there an exhilaration? Is there an excitement?
I think it's interesting because there's definitely sadness. There's definitely this kind of somber tone, but there's also this kind of it's hard to explain, but kind of the coming together of a family. You know how sometimes after a wake of a loved one, the close family kind of gathers, and it's this weird mix of both joy and sorrow. And that's a little bit what I see here. It's people together, they're praying, some are laughing, some are crying, but they all people just wanted to be here in the square today.
Yeah.
I heard earlier there was just a random rosary that broke out in the square, and people were just all praying the rosary together. And some people are bringing candles and flowers and just laying them at kind of the foot of the obelisk that's in the middle of the square. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of both.
Wow. Yeah. And I guess I wish I was there, and it'd be nice to stay for the funeral and all of that. But so you were but today when you found out, you were actually in Assisi, is that right?
Yeah, so it was fascinating. We had just hopped a train to go to Assisi to actually go see the body of Saint Francis.
Yeah.
And I was weaving through cars, and I just happened to glance down at somebody's phone, and they were scrolling on Instagram, and it said the Pope had died. And it was actually one of the most fascinating experiences of my life because it just spread through all the train cars. And suddenly everybody was talking about the Pope died in all the different languages. But of course, the sound of Pope Francis and any language. And it just ran through the train. And I will say the train was much quieter on the way out to Assisi than it was on the way home.
Sure.
After the news, people were just kind of processing it. And especially for those of us who were here, we saw him on Saturday night.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah.
And so to be oh gosh, we just saw him and now he's gone. Right. And
Well, it seemed like he was doing better, right? And he's catching his stride and his health is improving. And then he made the appearance on Easter Sunday and then that was it. So
I was going to say, I think for people who were here, it was pretty clear that he wasn't better.
Okay.
So usually if you're here for Holy Week, the Pope celebrates the Palm Sunday Mass in St. Peter's Square for the thousands that are here. He did not celebrate it. He came out in a wheelchair and kind of sort of waved and then nothing else. He canceled his Wednesday audience, which never happens during Holy Week.
Sure.
Canceled it, didn't do it. He didn't do any of the services, the public services. And at Easter Vigil, we managed to get tickets to the Easter Vigil in St. Peter's Basilica.
Oh, wow.
And we were there super early because we wanted to get really good seats. And he wheeled by in a wheelchair to go pray. I think he was praying near kind of the tomb of John Paul II, which is where the priests vest.
Okay.
And then he stopped in front of the altar and prayed in front of the altar before being wheeled away. And it was just really clear when he went by that he was very sick and this was probably the end, because even the guards didn't keep us away from kind of rushing the fence line. And in fact, the one guard was like, if he goes one way, he has to come back this way. So stay close is what he told me.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, I'm staying close. Because people could just kind of tell. Exactly. So it was pretty clear, that this was, and we actually did not come on Sunday for the Mass in the square because we'd gone to the Basilica the night before. But the people who did go to that said he seemed very sick and very weak. And I think it was kind of his, last kind of final swan song to come out and deliver his Urbi et Orbi.
Yeah.
And really be with the people. And then,
He definitely was the Pope of the people, right? And one of those quotes that I think was so good is to his brother priest is, you got to smell like the sheep. You got to get out in with the people. That's what we're here for. And that's certainly what I think that characterizes him. And I think my other strong memory of him will be that he was the Pope of mercy, right? He talked about mercy so much. And now he got a chance to experience it firsthand, our Lord's mercy, right? So God bless him. I'm sure he's sitting in heaven and looking down and kind of smiling at all of us, kind of scratching his head, saying, get on with your lives. This is all
it's
right.
Interesting. One of the things here, I've been here several times to St. Peter's Square, but he let the homeless people live in the arms of St. Peter's Square, and there's a little homeless camp set up. And apparently that was something that the Pope was like, they get to stay here. And I've never seen that before in any of the times I've been here, but since he's been Pope, he's allowed them to stay there. And so it's little things like that I think he just, his pontificate was a little different than what we'd seen previously with John Paul II and Benedict. And, he showed us, I guess there's not one way to be Pope. There's not one way to do things. He picked a name that no one else had picked. All of those things.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the historians write about his papacy. But certainly he had a real soft spot for the impoverished, the homeless, the prisoners, for all the people on the margins of society. And he had a great compassion and love for them. So good deal. All right. Well, listen, you got an early flight in the morning. Before we started, you were telling me a story about your cab driver in the morning. Give me that story, and then I'll let you go pack.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. So our cab driver was going to pick us up at 7 a.m., and he texted and said, is there any way I can pick you up at 6 a.m.? The roads will start being closed all around Rome. And he said, because our dad died.
Oh, my.
And he meant it as Pope Francis.
Yeah.
But the way he said it, it was just this is that's how people who live here, that's how they feel. Their dad just died.
Dad. Yeah.
That person who takes care of them. And so, I thought that was very special and very much kind of the vibe here.
Well, good for you. I mean, it's special that you were there for John Paul II and for Pope Francis on their last days on Earth. And all right, well, listen, pack, and I'll be looking forward to all the souvenirs that you bought for me. I'm sure that you'll be bringing home. And
oh, okay, yeah, great, perfect.
Have have a safe trip home. Yeah. All right, sweetheart, I love you, and travel safe. See you when you get home.
Thanks a bunch.
All righty.
See you later.
Okay,
bye
bye. All right, there we go. That's my daughter, Kate. I think this was her 5th trip to Rome, which means she's been there 5 times more than I have. I have never been to Rome. It's on the bucket list. Patrick, I'm sorry, but I just haven't been. I've been too busy making the money to feed the kids so they can save their money and so they can go to Rome. This entire episode of Marriage Unhindered is on the updated Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers.